NPCs are an integral part of gaming. They are your companions, your enemies, your storytellers, and your quest givers, as well as just being other goofy AI creatures that entertain you as you play your game. That said, some NPCs are more common than others. By the deliberate decision of the developers, certain characters that exist within the game will not appear all the time, and if they do, only a few lucky players will ever have a chance of encountering them. So let's have a chat about them today. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are the 10 rarest video game NPCs you've never seen before. Number 10. Jason Voorhees Zombie. Project Zomboid. The zombies in Project Zomboid are a varied bunch, each representing the different walks of life of the undead residents of Kentucky. Some may look like regular citizens, some like firefighters, police officers, and some even like mascots of the local fast food chain. Which zombie you come across is actually dependent on a lot of different things, from the part of the map that you're currently exploring to pure and unpredictable RNG. In fact, there's one extremely rare zombie that you can only encounter through sheer luck, an Easter egg zombie that is dressed like Jason from Friday the 13th. Yes, Project Zomboid has a very small chance of spawning a Jason lookalike, complete with his iconic hockey mask and machete. This rare zombie is not only a fun reference to a classic horror movie, but also if you're lucky enough to encounter it and not get bitten, it comes with a great reward in the form of a machete in pristine condition that allows you to dispose of large groups of zombies with ease. As a bonus, if you combine it with the hockey mask from the zombie, you can turn your own character into the most terrifying and badass survivor in the state of Kentucky. Number 9. Immortality Witch. Crusader Kings 2. Crusader Kings 2 is a historical grand strategy game about the rulers of the medieval world, but don't let this fact fool you. There are plenty of bizarre and supernatural secrets hiding amongst the title's historical accuracy. From satanic cults to battling Cthulhu, this game is chock full of dark mysteries. However, only a few lucky players have gotten the chance to encounter the rarest mystery of the game, a mysterious benefactor who allows your character to become immortal. Yes, the game offers you the chance at immortality, but meeting and convincing the right mystic who can grant this to you is one of the hardest event quests to trigger in the entire game. The chance of getting the event starting the search for the mystic to appear in your game is already lower than 1%, and this doesn't even account for the fact that your ruler might find an imposter and die a horrible death attempting their false trials. You have to be extremely lucky, but this said, if you do manage to find a real mystic, the prize of full immortality definitely justifies the rarity. Well, that is, as long as some angry subject doesn't assassinate you right after your transformation. Cool. Number 8. Chupacabra. Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. Now, Undead Nightmare is the post-apocalyptic Weird West DLC for the original Red Dead Redemption. Given the premise, it's obvious that a zombified map of the Undead Nightmare would be filled with all sorts of rare cryptids and monsters, and the most uncommon of all of them is the legendary Chupacabra, which even rewards you with an equally legendary reward for finding and killing it. This, of course, is easier said than done, as the Chupacabra is a small, barely noticeable black blob that is fast, fidgety, and hides amongst the shrubs and tumbleweeds of its native Mexico with ease. Even though you can learn the creature's location on your map, it still doesn't guarantee that you'll actually find it, much less that you'll actually manage to shoot it in time and get the reward. And worst of all, you basically only have one chance to hunt it down, as if you scare it, it flees the area and switches locations. That said, killing the strange creature comes with a reward for your efforts. Once the Chupacabra is slain and you manage to find the 4 horses of the apocalypse, you receive a contract for a special unicorn mount that is guaranteed to make your apocalypse experience feel positively fabulous. Number 7. The Genie, Sims 2. The Sims is a series full of bizarre little secrets, and Sims 2 in particular features quite a few of them. From random alien abductions to dying from houseflies and encountering all manner of occult creatures, each mystery is stranger than the other and only happens to a few select people who manage to meet the game's very specific requirements. And the rarest of these weird events that can happen to you is receiving a magical lamp with an actual genie hidden inside of it. Introduced in the free time expansion, the lamp is only awarded to those who fully raise their enthusiasm level for a hobby. This will attract the attention of the gypsy matchmaker, who one day may visit you with a genie lamp in hand. The rare spawn rate of the matchmaker, 2%, combined with the enthusiasm requirement, means that you can have dozens of hours in The Sims 2 and never get the genie. The reward is proportionate to its rarity, however, as the genie can grant 3 powerful wishes that can give you tons of simoleons, make your sim irresistible, or even resurrect dead relatives. Just be careful though, as the genie can be capricious, and some of your wishes may have, well, unpredictable consequences. Number 6. Jesco White, Grand Theft Auto 5. On top of the strangers and freaks that you might meet in the appropriately named side missions, Grand Theft Auto 5 features unique NPCs that you can interact with in the world. These include zombie and superhero cosplayers, a guy claiming to be Jesus, and an Epsilon program evangelist, to name just a few. However, what most GTA 5 players don't know is that this list also includes a cameo appearance from a real-life performer, and it's easily the most fun and hilarious NPC that you can encounter in the game. Dancing Hillbilly, also referred to by his real-life equivalent name Jesco White, is exactly what his title says, a merry dancer performing the traditional mountain tap dance to country music playing from his boombox. Video game Jesco can be found at the foreclosed North Alamo Pier to the north of Los Santos. His enthusiasm, his wild moves, and his dance like nobody's watching attitude makes him an absolute joy to watch. Unfortunately, because his dancing spot is in such a remote location, almost nobody gets to experience his amazing performance. Perhaps that's why he's dancing like nobody's watching. Number 5. Poseidus, World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft's bestiary is filled with rare and unique creatures that you can encounter only in a specific location and under very specific circumstances. Out of all of them, the most tricky to find is Poseidus, a giant seahorse that lives in a hard-to-reach part of the sea and has a ridiculously low percentage chance of spawning. If you've never even heard of Poseidus, it's probably because of the unique seahorse mount that the creature drops if you manage to kill it. It's also very probable that despite the rumors, you've never actually seen anyone riding the mount because the search for Poseidon is really that difficult. Aside from the already mentioned difficulties of finding Poseidon, the unique reward he offers means that there are thousands of players lining up to get a chance of taking it for themselves. So even if you show up at the right time and the right place, Poseidus may still evade your eyes, as the only evidence of his presence will be a dozen determined players circling around his disappearing corpse like a school of ravenous sharks. Nothing like some good old-fashioned Warcraft rivalry. Number 4. Preston Garvey Imposter, Fallout 4. Unknown to most beginner players, the main roads in Fallout 4 are the perfect location to encounter fellow travelers in the wasteland. Each road between the major settlements possesses several spawn points for generating random encounters with strangers, from weirdos and merchants to unique NPCs that you can recruit to your own settlements. And some of these encounters appear more frequently than others, which is why a lot of people have never actually had the chance to meet the air quotes real Preston Garvey. In this random encounter, you come across an eerily familiar man dressed like a Minuteman who introduces himself as Preston Garvey, your favourite settlement marking companion. The imposter will ask you for a charitable donation to the Minuteman cause, at which point you can call him out on his scheme and prompts him to flee or fight you. The interaction is even better if you are the general of the Minutemen, or if the real Preston is travelling with you. The moment he realises who he's talking to, the fake Preston panics and goes running straight for the hills. It's really worth it to meet him as the general, but given the rare spawn rate of the imposter, you're lucky if you even get to meet him at all. Number 3. The Ebony Warrior, The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim. The Ebony Warrior is a special NPC in Skyrim that appears in your game only after you reach level 80. If you've ever played Skyrim, you'll understand why not everybody knows about the Ebony Warrior's existence and why an even smaller part of the community has actually had a chance to meet him. Whereas leveling up your skills is pretty easy in Skyrim, leveling up your character as high as level 80 is pretty tough indeed. You can beat the entire game and do all the major side quests and you still won't even be close to that number unless you devote hours of your time to grinding specific skills. The reward for your effort is a fight with the most powerful NPC in the game, who will arrive in one of the cities and personally invite you to a duel to the death. And oh boy, is the Ebony Warrior a tough nut to crack. With armor that reflects damage and boosts his resistances to every type of damage by 50%, it can take several tries to take him down. That is, provided you even get a chance to meet them, of course. Number 2. The Mailman, Grand Theft Auto 4. Despite being more than a decade and a half old, Grand Theft Auto 4 still has a dedicated community that plays and discusses this game to this very day. A big reason for this is the wide array of details that are scattered throughout the game and the fact that people are still discovering new facts about them. The most interesting discovery like this made in recent days is the case of an extremely rare NPC who has such a small chance of spawning that many people assumed that he was a hoax. The NPC in question is a unique mailman character who, unlike any other NPC in the game, has a work pattern that he follows. When a mailman appears in your game, he actually starts to walk from mailbox to mailbox, collecting letters and complaining about how much he hates his work. Again, the mailman follows a specified path and schedule, which may be the reason why he barely appears in people's games, seeing as no other NPC in GTA 4 does that. So if you manage to spot him, maybe don't try and blow him up with rockets and grenades right away. Or do, it's a free country. And number 1, the Meditating Monk, Red Dead Redemption 2. Secrets are the bread and butter of Red Dead Redemption 2. No matter where you go or what you do, there's always some kind of hidden feature or mystery lurking just around the corner. This is obviously the case with the game's NPCs as well. I mean, there are plenty of unique and bizarre characters hiding in the different parts of the map, but the most elusive of them all is the lone monk meditating atop a mountain. Because of his remote location in the Grizzlies East and the fact that the area is partially marked as a restricted area, only a fraction of the player base has actually dared to venture up into these mountains to meet him. Well, it's more see him than meet him, actually, given that the monk doesn't really talk and tends to ignore you to focus on his meditation. For these reasons, those that have found him made it their life's goal to find a way to make the monk pay attention to them. They antagonize him, shoot him, hogtie him, and do every type of nasty thing in the hopes of coaxing a reaction out of him. He's like a guard at Buckingham Palace if London were located in 19th century America and all the tourists were dangerous gunmen. I mean, jeez, this poor guy's just trying to meditate. Just leave him alone.